Okay, here we are, folks. This is after the clearing that was done. This forester came in this past week and took down a lot of the underbrush in this area. This is, we're actually heading toward the water now from the front of the property at the street. And just so you can see how everything looks right now. Obviously that's the gate. That's the one marker on that side. And the other marker is right over here next to the neighbor's driveway. Alright, as we walk back through here, you're going to see a lot of this area now has become a little bit like mulch in the areas. The guy did a pretty good cleanup job over in here. There's some things that still need to be ground up yet. A couple of dead stumps right there that aren't quite done yet. You can see where the marker is over on that side. There's one marker there. And another marker there that runs the left-hand side of the property down toward the water. And then, of course, as you walk on this side, there's a couple of the markers on this side of the property. And as you can see, as we go further down, zooming in here, a couple of faint markers down, way down beyond that burn barrel. We'll go ahead and walk down there at the moment. Okay. Well, I'm getting off the beaten path here. Just want to walk the driveway part of it so you can see where everything is at this point. We're coming up on the clearing in the center of the property. This part of it actually was cleared a number of years ago when the first part of the clearing took place. Is when a guy came in and cut down a bunch of our dead trees and cleared up some of this area for the home site. I'm thinking that this is where the front of the property is going to be located, and then back down beyond that tree line is going to be the backyard, or the rest of the property, and of course that'll be attached to the backyard as well too. Again, here's one of the markers, and as we go down that side, you can see way off in the distance there's a couple of more of those markers, and of course there's the water's edge in that location. This was the outbuilding that the neighbor to our left has, that is encroached upon our property border, and I'm going to walk toward this so we can see where the markers are, if it's at all possible to get a sense of how far back this building has to be moved. And then from that standpoint, we'll be asking for some sort of a timeline when that's going to take place. We're not sure yet. That all depends on when we start breaking ground. But if you look at, in this particular area here, you can see that little orange marker right there at the foot of that ramp. That's the property line. So you can tell from that as to how far that building is on our side of the property. Okay, and then of course there's another smaller outbuilding down below this larger one. That part of it is also on our property line as well too. Let me take a look a little further down here so you can get a sense of maybe how much of a moving chore this is going to be to get both of these buildings and the items over on that side of the property. So this is their dock, neighbor's dock, and you see sort of how things have been cleared up in this area. Let me back up and do a pan out to the center of our lot, and so you can see the type of clearing that was done back toward the street. And as you can see from where we were, you can see the markers on the right side of the property back up toward the street are located. And here's another marker over on that side. And it was raining earlier today. We're just kind of getting into the tail end of the storm that just came through here. And you can see our dock down at the water's edge. What I'm also wanting to do is so you can see where the markers are. Again, this is one of the markers down near the water's edge where the surveyor actually placed a spot. Walk down here a little further. Okay, I think what these markers are down in here are the Georgia setback markers. We had asked it looks like we're going to have to do a little bit of roundup over in here at some point. Get all this low vegetation off the water's edge cleared out. We'll probably come back here in the next couple of weeks or so and take care of that. But anyway, as you can see from the property's edge, you can see the column, the stone column of that seawall that we have, and that actually marks the left side of the property at the water. So now as we pan around and go back up toward the roadway, and I'm going to try to stand in line between that marker and the column, and as you can see how the building cuts into, and there's also a flag at that tree. You can see that. You can see where the spot is on how much of that larger of the two buildings is actually on our property line, or over it, I should say. Anyway, let's back out of this, and then we're going to take a look a little further. Here's another marker. Again, a lot of these markers in the middle of the property, of course, appear to be markers that were put in place to designate where the Georgia Power responsibility is on this part of the property. Wow, we're going to have to do a little bit more roundup in here, looks like, and get clear out this vegetation. I want to try to cut as much of this growth next to the wall down as we can, and then get all this cleared up so we can have a nice view of the water from back up onto the property site. Again, here's some more of the Georgia Power markings. And by the way, what was described to us on the yellow markings is that the markings are to designate which trees we can cut down and ones we can't. The two trees you see, one has a single yellow stripe, the other has two stripes. The single yellow stripe we're not allowed to cut or do anything with. The double yellow stripes we can go ahead and take down. Unfortunately, these trees back in here, we're not allowed to mess with those. So, without Georgia Power's approval, of course. So, that we're going to have to figure out how we're going to ultimately get all of this groundscaped and all. So, looks like he got the forester guy got all of his stuff done as far down as he would dare to prevent any kind of issues. Wow, that tree stump there looks like it's about done and over with, babe. You see that?
Yeah, the tree needs to come down.
Yeah. Okay, so down on the dock, again, this is an area that I'm sure as our families get together, this is going to be a big focal point right here for all of us. I can see the kids out there, the grandbabies out there playing in the lake, doing all the water games and sports and fun activities, fishing, boating, whatever. Across the other side of the lake, obviously, and we're looking more toward the northeast. That's the southern end of Reynolds Plantation. The other side of this creek was, what was that? Water's Edge? Great Waters. And as you can see, there's a home going up over on that site too. Over in that subdivision, they're building, looks like a new house is going up there. So, all right, let's put it to bed.